it's Don here from the board. Thanks for coming along and checking out another one of our videos. This week's been a bit of a busy week, I suppose, in terms of just work and life. I've been a bit under the weather. I actually have a bit of a sore throat right now, and I've had a bit of a runny nose. My daughter's been sick this week as well with a cold, so blowing snot and sneezing everywhere, which is pretty much where I got sick as well. So I haven't actually had that much prepared this week, but I thought I'd still do a video, obviously just to keep you guys, up to date on what's happening here on the board. First and foremost, we're looking at to try and get some more guests. We've had the feedback from our podcast episodes, and we're just trying to hit up a couple of different people to see if they can come along and have a chat with us, either as Kev interviews or as part of our regular episodes. So hopefully we'll be able to get someone on this week even, and just hang out for that. Make sure you check out those episodes. Now, we haven't actually hit the 900 subscribers yet. We're at 898, so only 2 people away for me to kick off the giveaway, which is going to be 7 packets of the Otemu Ice Switch tester kits. So they've got the Ice Teal, Ice Purple, Ice Dark Purple, Ice Grey, and Ice Blue, which I did a video of before, so you can always find that in our playlist on this channel. But I already started preparing and thinking about when we actually hit that magic 1,000 subscribers, and I wanted to do something a little bit better, a little bit bigger, and a bit more meaningful towards keyboards. So I was able to get hold of a Gherkin PCB kit. It actually had diodes in it, had some resistors, had a MOSFET, and it had PCBs, but it didn't have a Pro Micro. So I've actually ordered some Pro Micros so I can package that up and it becomes almost a workable kit. So of course, this being a preview, it will not have switches, but I'll see if I've got enough spare vomit keycaps from my grab bags that can make a full set in some profile, and I'll put them in as well. But it got me thinking, the Gherkin's nice, and you would have seen my Gherkin that I built before. If you haven't, of course, there's also that build video in our list. But I wanted to do something different because most Gherkins tend to live as just a PCB setup with or without a plate, depending on what Gerber files you use to buy and create. So I thought, why not make a case for it, 3D print it, and have that as part of the giveaway. So whoever wins it has the option of case mounting it or keeping it as the PCB style. So I went ahead and I tried to make a case. So here's actually the case in NetFab, my version 1, and it was basically standoffs with some cutouts that allowed you to do the reset down here, as well as the USB port, which is on the side. And the standoffs would allow you to have both the Pro Micro sitting comfortably and the depth of your soldering not to be an issue, but it was high enough that the lip meant if you did want to use a plate with it, the plate wasn't going to get in the way. I printed it, and that's when I kind of discovered there was some issues in my design. And so here's the actual case there from that design. As a prototype, the plate fits fine. I took my Gherkin apart. That has a plate, and it wasn't an issue. But what I did discover with mounting, and you can see that's quite nice and snug, was that when you have the Pro Micro fitted in it, the actual USB cable plugging in was contacting the case. So that's the first point that I needed to change. But then the second point was that, and this is part of the same issues that I had when I built my Delta Split 75 case, was the shrinkage. Now I suspect it's because my 3D printer is a bit old, and the actual tracks, what are they called? The belts on them, they're probably stretched a bit, and so they're not behaving properly like they would have been if they were tensioned correctly. As well as the fact that I'm printing with ABS and there's a bit of shrinkage involved, so the scaling factor is a little bit funny, but I don't think you're going to see it very clearly here. As we progress down the line, though, towards the end, just like I had the same issues with the Delta Split, I got a bit of drift. So this final actual mount hole, the standoff is actually off center. Now, of course, I could spend a lot of time in printing and trying to get that right, but then I thought, there's got to be a better way. And while I was thinking about that, I realized the screws that most people get aren't self-tapping, so they wouldn't even go into this anyway, and there's no way I can really print cleanly at that size, like an M2, to have a thread in it. So I went and tried to do a V2 design. I'm just going to load that up into NetFab, and I thought I'd have a bit of fun with that. Get rid of that one, remove that. Yep. Alright, yeah. So, because somebody was like, why don't you actually put some embossing in it? And so I did. And I'm just trying to rotate that around. There we go. So I put in a Gherkin case V2, and of course to celebrate 1,000 subscribers, which, you know, you're not going to see it on the outside once you mount the Gherkin anyway, but it's there just because I can. What is fundamentally different to this though, I mean, I have increased the size of that so that now it's not going to be an issue in contacting the case when you plug in your cable, is that I've gone the other way. And what I've done is I've made slot mounts. So you're still going to have to get your own standoffs, because I don't actually have any. And you put them underneath the PCB into the case, and then on the other side you'll see it's recessed. You'll screw the screws through the base into the standoffs, and that way it should hold it. So I thought, you know, I got to give that a play test, and I tried to print some with not much success. So the first attempt to print it was actually this one, where I had some delamination. It wasn't adhering very well, and then it basically, the print head crashed into it and started peeling off layers, so that was a bunk. And then the second time I tried to print it, that's how far I got into it, about 35%. You can see the actual honeycomb from the print, the infill, as well as the embossed words there, which came out pretty well actually, relatively happy with that. But then the warp, you can kind of see the warp lifted up and caused the print head to crash into that, and that killed the print too. So at this point in time, I don't have a working prototype or even a final case, but I still have time because we haven't hit 1,000 subscribers. But just doing my preliminary lining up of the holes though, I'm fairly confident that the sizing fits, because the slots were quite generous to encompass as much deviation as my printer might produce. However, if you do see this video and you would like to actually get a copy of this STL file to print on your own printer for your own Gherkin, just let me know, hit me up, and I'm happy to share that with you. Of course, it makes it a little bit less special because other people can have it, but at the same time, you know, I don't want to hold things back from the community if people in the community really want it and feel it's of value to them. Now, if you feel very generous and you manage to print one of these and you test it with your own Gherkin and it works really well, and you wanted to help out our channel, you can also print it and send one to me, or let me know, and then whenever we draw this, whoever wins it, and I let you know when you want to cover the shipping or whatever, I'm sure we can work something out, then I would love and appreciate that. Also, simply because my printer's a bit temperamental. So there you go. So that's what I've been up to lately. I haven't really done much else with keyboards this week just because of life, cold, baby, etc. Hopefully, you know, as next week goes by, things settle back a little bit, I might get a bit more time to prepare something for just a little bit more of a worthwhile video, but we'll just have to see how it goes. So yeah, now of course, if you are checking out this video, somehow you stumbled across it for the first time and you don't know who we are a YouTube channel supporting the podcast on mechanical keyboards. We try to go for weekly releases, and of course there's always links below the video on how you can get to our content as well as our Patreon. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel and you'd like to give us your support, please hit that subscribe button, like it, and share it, of course. So yeah, would love it if you do. So thanks very much for tuning in as usual, and of course, until next time, happy clacking.